Chapter 20, Sati's Marriage Festival. Narad said, O Lord Brahma, the fortunate one, foremost of Shiva's devotees, you have narrated the wonderfully auspicious story of Shiva. O dear one, what happened after that? Please continue to narrate the story of the moon-crested Shiva and Sati, the wonderful story that quells all sins. Brahma said. When Shiva, who is sympathetic towards his devotees, desisted from killing me, all became fearless, happy, and pleased. All of them bowed with stooping shoulders, and palms joined in reverence. They lauded Shiva with devotion. They shouted cries of victory with pleasure. At the same time, delighted and fearless, O sage, I eulogized Shiva with devotion by means of auspicious prayers. O sage, the Lord Shiva, who was delighted in his mind and who is an adept in many a divine sport, spoke to me within the hearing of all. Rudra said, Dear Brahma, I am glad. You can be free from fear. You touch your head with your hand. Unhesitatingly carry out my behest. Brahma said. On hearing these words of Lord Shiva, adept in divine sports, I touched my head and in the same manner bowed to Shiva. When I thus touched my head, I assumed the shape of his vehicle, the bull. Then I was too much ashamed. I stood with my head bent down. Indra and other devas standing around saw me in that plight. Ashamed that I was, I repeatedly bowed to him, and after offering prayers spoke to him again, I may be excused. I may be excused. O Lord, tell me the mode of atonement for my even killing is justifiable. May my sin be removed thereby. Thus addressed by me, Shiva, the Lord of all, who is favorable, delightedly told me as I stood bowing to him. Shiva said, In this very form, of a bull, whereon I sit, you shall perform penance with pleasure in your heart and desire for propitiating me. You will acquire the glory of being called the head of Rudra in the world. You will be the accomplisher of rites for Brahmins of great repute. Discharge of semen is the act of human beings, and as you have done the same, you will be born as a man and be roaming over the earth. When you wander over the earth in this form, people will be asking, What is there on the head of Brahma? And you shall reply, Shiva. Anybody who has committed the sin of outraging the modesty of another man's wife will be free from that sin if he eagerly hears your story. Whenever people thus repeat your wicked action, your sin will gradually subside and you will become pure. O Brahma, this is the atonement I lay down for you, being laughed at by the people and ridiculed by them. The semen drops that fell in the middle of the altar ground from you when you were excited by lust and seen by me will not be retained by anyone. 4 drops of your semen fell on the ground. Hence so many terrible clouds causing dissolution shall rise up in the sky. In the meantime, when Shiva said so, in front of the devas and the sages, so many clouds emanated from the semen drops. O dear one, 4 types of great clouds that cause destruction are the Samvartaka, the Avarta, the Puskara, and the Droijaya. O excellent sage, those clouds rumbling and roaring with hideous sounds, dropping showers at the slightest wish of Shiva, burst asunder in the sky. When the sky was covered by those roaring clouds, Shiva and the goddess Shiva were quite calm. O sage, thereafter becoming fearless, I concluded the remaining rites of the marriage at the bidding of Shiva. O excellent sage, a shower of flowers dropped by the devas with great pleasure fell on the heads of Shiva and also on all their sides. O Narad, great festivities were conducted by the wives of the devas. Musical instruments were played, songs were sung, Vedic hymns were recited devoutly by groups of Brahmins. The celestial damsels Ramha and others danced zealously. Then the delightful Lord, the Lord of sacrificial rites, following the conventions of the world, spoke to me as I was standing with palms joined in reverence. Shiva said, "O Brahma, all the rites of marriage have been performed extremely well. I am pleased. You officiated as the priest. What shall I give you as the nuptial fee? O eldest of Devas, you can demand it even if it be hard to get. Tell me quickly, O fortunate one. For there is nothing which cannot be granted by me." Brahma said, "O sage, on hearing these words of Shiva I humbly bowed to him repeatedly with palms joined in reverence and said, O Lord of Devas, if you are pleased, if I deserve your blessings, O Lord, please do as I request you with pleasure. O Lord Shiva, for the purification of men from sins you will please stay forever in this altar in this self-same form. O moon-crested God, I shall make my hermitage in its vicinity and perform penance to destroy my sin. If anyone visits this holy site on the 13th day in the bright half of Kshetra, March-April, when the star is Uttara Falguni and the day is Sunday, may all his sins be quelled, O Shiva, may his merits increase and may his ailments disappear. If a woman who is barren, one-eyed, ugly, or unfortunate, visits this place she shall be freed from all these defects." On hearing these words of mine, Shiva was pleased and he said, "Let it be so." This made me very happy. Shiva said, "Oh, for the benefits of the people, I shall stay in this altar, with my wife Sati in accordance with your words of request." Brahma said. After saying this, the Lord Shiva in the company of his wife stayed in the middle of the altar creating partial image of himself. Taking leave of Daksha, Shiva, the great Lord, desired to depart along with his wife Sati. He was so fond of his own men. In the meantime, the intelligent Daksha bowed humbly with palms joined in reverence and eulogized Shiva with devotion. Vishnu, the gods, and the Ganas bowed to and lauded him, shouting cries of victory with pleasure. With the joyous consent of Daksha, Shiva seated Sati on the bull and then sitting himself on it went to the Himalayan ridges. Seated on the bull along with Shiva, the sweet smiling Sati of fine teeth shone like a black cloud near the moon. Vishnu and other devas, Marisai and other sages, Daksha, and the other people were all in a state of pleasant steady senselessness. Some played on musical instruments, others sang sweetly the lustrous glory of Shiva. They all followed Shiva joyously. Half the way Shiva took leave of Daksha with pleasure. Along with his followers, Daksha returned to his abode thrilled by Shiva's love. Vishnu and other devas, though permitted to go, followed Shiva with devotion and great joy. With these, his wife and his attendants, Shiva reached his abode in the beauteous surroundings of the Himalayas with very great delight. After reaching his abode, Shiva honored the devas and the great sages and then bade farewell to them with respect. Taking leave of Shiva, eulogizing and bowing to him, Vishnu, as also the gods and sages, with joyful beaming faces returned to their respective abodes. Shiva, with boundless pleasure in the company of his wife the daughter of Dakya, sported in the Himalayan region following the conventions of the world. Then, O sage, Shiva, the primordial creation, entered his residence in Kailasa, the best of mountains, along with Sati and his attendants. Thus I have narrated to you all how the marriage of the bull-vehicled Lord took place formerly in the Manvantara of Svayambhuva Manu. If anyone hears this narrative with concentrated attention after worshipping Shiva at marriages, sacrifices or other auspicious undertakings, all the rites of marriage or other auspicious undertaking will always conclude without obstacles. The bride will be blessed with happiness, good fortune, good conduct, and good qualities. She will be chaste and produce sons on hearing this auspicious narration. Chapter 21, The Dalliance of Sati and Shiva. Narada said, O dear, your words are perfect inasmuch as you are omniscient, sinless one. The wonderfully auspicious story of Shiv and Shiva has been heard by us. We have heard the detailed account of their marriage that destroys delusions, makes one endowed with true knowledge and which is excellently auspicious. I wish to know more of the auspicious story of Shiva and Shiva. Hence, having unequaled consideration for me, O intelligent one, please narrate the same. Brahma said, Your inquiries for the history of the merciful Lord are pursued well, since you have prompted me to narrate the divine sports of Shiva. Know from me what Shiva did with pleasure on reaching his abode after his marriage with goddess Sati, Daksha's daughter and the mother of the three worlds. O celestial sage, after reaching his gay abode along with his Ganas, Shiva descended from his bull with great pleasure. O celestial sage, entering his apartment in a befitting manner, along with Sati, Shiva assuming worldly conventions rejoiced very much. Then after approaching Sati, Shiva sent out his attendants Nandan and others, from the cave in the mountain. Following the manner of the people of the world, the merciful Lord spoke these affable and courteous words to Nandan and others. Lord Shiva said, O my attendants, with minds respectfully concentrated in thinking upon me, you shall come to me only when I remember you. When Shiva said like this, Nandan and others who constituted the powerful set of attendants of quick speed left for different places. When they went away and he was left alone with Sati, Shiva rejoiced much and sported with her. Sometimes he gathered some sylvan flowers and wreathed a fine garland out of them which he put round her neck in the place of the necklace. While Sati was admiring at the reflection of her race in the mirror, Shiva came behind and peeped into the reflection of his own face. Sometimes he would be sporting with her earrings, tying and untying and scrubbing them himself. Sometimes by the application of red dye Shiva made her naturally red feet completely red. Many things which could be said aloud even in the presence of many, Shiva whispered into her ears in order to see her face. He would not go far from her, if at all he went, he would return suddenly and close her eyes from behind, and while she was thinking about something else he would ask her his name. Sometimes Shiva would become invisible through his Maya and suddenly embrace her when she would become terrified and agitated. Sometimes with musk he would make marks like bees on her breasts that resembled the buds of a golden lotus. Sometimes he would take the necklace off her breasts and press them with his hands. Sometimes he would remove the bracelets, bangles, rings from their places and fix them again one by one. Even as she was looking on, sometimes he would come to her lofty breasts saying with laughter, This dark spot Kalika on your breasts is your companion of the same color as it contains the same letters as are found in your name Kalika. Sometimes when he was too much excited with love he would exchange pleasantries with his beloved. Sometimes beautiful flowers and with ornaments. He would gather lotuses and other decorate her with them as though in the company of his beloved Shiva. Shiv, who is favorably disposed to his devotees, sported about among the mountain hedges. Without her, he did not move anywhere, he did not stay anywhere, he did not carry on any activity without her company. Shiva was not happy without her even for a moment. After dallying among the hedges and grottos in the Kailasa mountain for a long time, he went to the Himalayan ridges where he remembered Kama out of his own accord. When Kama reached the vicinity of Shiva, spring spread all his splendor in accord with the inclination of the Lord. The trees and creepers blossomed and bloomed. Waters were covered with full-blown lotuses. Bees hovered round the lotuses. When that excellent season set in, the gentle Malaya breeze, fragrant and delightful due to sweet-smelling flowers, blew all round. The palasa flowers, resembling the hue of the twilight and shaped like the crescent moon, shone like the flowery arrows of Kama at the feet of trees. The lotus flowers shone in the lakes. The goddess wind endeavored to fascinate people with her sweet face. With their flowers golden in hue, the Nagaksara trees shone beautifully like the banners of Kama. Rendering the breeze fragrant with its smell, the clove creeper fascinated the minds of passionate people with its sweetness. The mango trees and the sala plants, shining like mild fire, shone like the open couches for the flowery arrows of Kama. With full-blown lotuses, the pure waters of the lakes shone like the minds of sages, wherein the supreme splendor Atman is clearly reflected. The dewdrops, as they came in contact with the rays of the sun, turned in vapors like the hearts of the people, turning pure in association with the good. The nights became bright with the moon devoid of mist. Lovely women shone beautifully in the company of their lovers. In this atmosphere, on that excellent mountain, Lord Shiva sported about for a long time among the groves, hedges, and streams in the company of Sati. O sage, then Sati so exercised her splendid influence on Shiva that he did not have mental peace without her even for a moment. The goddess satisfied his mind in fullness in the matter of intercourse. She seemed to enter his body. He made her drink that juice. With garlands of flowers wreathed by himself, he decorated her person and felt new pleasures. With diverse conversations, glances, joking remarks and exchanges of pleasantries, he instructed goddess Shiva in the knowledge of self. Drinking the nectar from her moon face, Shiva stabilized his body. Sometimes he experienced exhilarating and particularly pleasing state. Just as a huge elephant that is bound with ropes cannot have any other activity. He was also bound by the sweet fragrance of her lotus-like face, her beauty, and her jocular pleasantries. Thus in the ridges and caverns of the Himalayan mountains, the Lord sported about in the company of Sati every day. According to the calculation of the Devas, 25 years elapsed, O celestial sage, during which he dallied thus. Chapter 22. The dalliance of Shiv and Shiva on the Himalayas. Brahma said. Once at the advent of clouds, Daksha's daughter said to Shiva, who was halting on the ridge of Kailasa mountain. Sati said, O Lord of Devas, O Shiva, my dear husband, please hear my words and do accordingly, O bestower of honor. The most unbearable season of the advent of clouds has arrived, with clusters of clouds of diverse hues, and their music reverberating in the sky and the various quarters. The speedy gusts of wind scattering sprays of water mingled with nectarine drops from the kadamba flowers captivate the heart as they blow. Whose mind will not be agitated by the loud and forceful rumblings of the clouds that release a heavy downpour and have the beams off lightning for their ensign? Covered by the clouds, neither the sun nor the moon is visible. Even the day appears like the night, and it distresses those who are separated from their lovers. O Shiva, tossed about by the gusts of wind, the clouds do not remain steady in any place. They rumble and appear as if they would fall on the heads of the people. Huge trees struck down by the wind appear to dance in the sky, terrifying the cowards and delighting the lover, O Shiva. Flocks of cranes above the clouds, glossy and blue like the Kali Rhythm, shine like foams on the surface of Yamuna. During the close of the nights the circle of lightning appears like the blazing submarine fire in the ocean. O odd-eyed Shiva, here even in the courtyards of the temples, plants grow. Need I mention the growth of plants elsewhere? With the clusters of clouds dark, silvery, and red in color clinging to the Mandara mountain peak, Himalaya appears as the ocean of milk with the birds of diverse colors. Unrivaled splendor has resorted to the Kursuka flowers devoid of odor, as Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, abandons good people and resorts to the crooked, whether of high or low birth. The peacocks are delighted at the sound of the cloud over the Mandara mountain. Their gleeful cackles and outstretched tails indicate the incessant pleasure of their heart. The sweet and delightful sounds of the Shatuk birds that are fond of clouds fall upon the wayfarers like the arrows of rain showers, causing incessant pain. See the wickedness perpetrated by the clouds on my body. They are pelting it with hailstones. But they cover and protect the peacocks and Shatuk who are their followers. On seeing the distress of peacocks and deer from even their friend, sun, the swans go even to the distant Manasa lake on the top of the mountain. In this troublesome time, even crows and kakora birds build their nests. But you don't. Without a home, how will you be happy? O Panyaka-bearer Shiva, let not the great fear originating from clouds befall us. Hence endeavor for a residence. Do not delay. Heed my words. O bull-emblemed God, either in Kailasa or in the Himalayas or in Mahakasi on the earth you make a befitting habitation. Brahma said. Thus advised by Sati, frequently Shiva laughed, provoking a smile from the moon on his head by way of its beams. Then the high-souled Lord Shiva, who knew all the Panyakadruk, it is the name of Shiva derived from wielding a staff, bow, or trident, principle, spoke to Sati with a smile, breaking his lips asunder and consoling her. Shiva said, O my beloved, beautiful woman, clouds will not reach the place where I have to make an abode for you. O comely lass! Even in the rainy seasons the clouds move about in the side ridges alone of the Himalayas. O gentle lady, the clouds usually come only up to the foot of Kailasa. They never go above it. The clouds never go above the mountain Sumeru. The clouds Puskara, Avartika etc. reach the foot of Jambu, and return. Of these mountains I have mentioned, you can choose one for residence as you desire. Please tell me quickly where you wish to reside. On the Himalayan mountains, songs exciting your curiosity and enthusiastic gaiety shall be sung by clusters and swarms of bees with sweet humming sounds as they play about as they please. On that mountain at the time when you wish to sport about, the Siddha women will gaily offer you a seat on the jewel-studded platform and gladly present you with fruits and other gifts. The daughters of the king of serpents, the mountain damsels, the Naga ladies and the Turangamukais will assist you in their excited flutter in congratulating you. Seeing your face of unequaled splendor and beauty and your body of uncommon luster, the celestial ladies there, despising their own beauty and lacking in interest in their own qualities, will begin to stare at you with winkless eyes. Mukha, the wife of the king of mountains, famous in the three worlds for her beauty and good qualities, will delight you very much through words of entreaties. The honorable ladies of Himalaya's harem will Mukha or Meena. She is the wife of Himavat and mother of Parvati and Ganga and of a son named Menaka. cause immense pleasure to your gracious self. They will impart you useful instruction, though you need none, with pleasure every day. O beloved, do you wish to go to the Himalayas, the king of mountains wherein there is spring forever, which abounds in hedges and groves where the cuckoos coo in diverse pleasing ways, and which contains many lakes filled with cool water and hundreds of lotuses? It is of full grassy plains and trees that yield everything one desires, and hence on a par with kulpa so trees. You can see plenty of flowers, horses, elephants, and cows there. There in the Himalayas even the beasts of prey are calm. It is the abode of many sages and ascetics. It is an abode of devas, and many deer move about in it. It shines with ramparts of crystals, gold, and silver. It is lustrous with the lakes Manasa and others. It abounds in buds and full-blown lotuses with golden stalks studded with gems. Crocodiles, sharks, and tortoises abound in the jakes. O goddess of Devas, there are many beautiful blue lotuses emitting sweet fragrance. On the banks there are many grasslands, small and big trees, and the saffron flowers increasing the fragrance of the waters with which the jakes are full. The apricot tree seems to dance with their oscillating branches. They seem to be fanning the self-born god of love. There are sarasa birds and the intoxicated chakravaka birds heightening its beauty. The different parts of the mountain Meru seem to be echoing the pleasing sweet sounds of bees etc., which cause the incitement of love of the guardians of the quarters, viz. Indra, Kabura, Yama, Varuna, Agni, Nirdi, Marut, Wind, and the Supreme Lord, Esat. Heaven, the abode of the Devas, is stationed on the summits of the Meru, wherein the cities of the guardians of the quarters are also situated. They are brilliant. Beautiful celestial damsels, Ramha, Suchi, Mukha, and others heighten their glory. Do you wish to sport about on this great mountain, which is very beautiful and which appears to contain the essence of all mountains? There, the Queen Suchi, attended by her chaperones and celestial damsels, will assist you always. Or do you wish to have an abode in my own Kailasa, the great mountain affording shelter to the good and enhanced in beauty by the luminous city of Kabura? O beautiful lady, tell me quickly, where do you wish to stay among these places, whether in Kailasa, which is pure and holy by virtue of the river Ganga, lustrous like the full moon, or in the beautiful mountain Meru, wherein the maidens of the sages recite and chant hymns in the caves and ridges, or in places full of various deer and hundreds of lotus lakes? I shall make arrangements for your residence. Brahma said. When Shiva said thus, Sati slowly told Lord Shiva, revealing her desire. Sati said, I wish to stay only on the Himalayas along with you. You please make arrangements for a residence on that mountain at once. Brahma said. On hearing her words, Shiva was fascinated, and he went to the summit of the Himalayas along with her. He reached the beautiful summit where the Ramha, Suchi, Mukha etc. are the heavenly nymphs famous for their personal charms. They are skillful in winning over the minds even of the ascetics practicing hard austerities. Citalades resided, which could not be reached by birds and which shone with lakes and forests. The top was of variegated colors as of various gems, embellished by lotuses of diverse forms, shapes, and luster. Shiva in the company of Sati reached that top which shone like the rising sun. On the top of the mountain near the city of Himalaya, Shiva sported about for a long time in the company of Sati. It was a very beautiful place which abounded in crystalline clouds. It shone with grassy plains and plenty of trees. There were various flowers in abundance. It had many lakes. The boughs of the full-blown and blossomed trees were surrounded by humming bees. Lotuses and blue lilies were in full bloom. Different kinds of birds flew there, such as Okravaca kadamba, swans, geese, the intoxicated sarasas, cranes, the peacocks, etc. The sweet note of the male cuckoo reverberated there. Many kinds of semi-divine beings, the Asvamukhas, the Siddhas, the Apsaras, the Goyakas, etc. roamed there. Their womenfolk, the Vidyadharas, the Kinnaras and the mountain lasses played about here and there. The celestial damsels played on their jutes, tabours, and drums and danced with enthusiasm. Thus the top of the mountain abounded in beautiful women, beautiful lakes, fragrant flowers, and groves of full-blown flowers. In that heaven-like spot Shiva sported about with Sati for 10,000 years according to divine calculation. Shiva went from place to place. Sometimes he went to the top of Meru wherein gods and goddesses resided. He went to different continents, parks, and forests on the earth. After visiting the different places he returned home and lived with Sati. Shiva found place and pleasure only with Sati. He found no pleasure in sacrifices or the Vedas or penances. Day and night Sati stared into the face of Shiva and he. The Siddhas are a class of semi-divine beings of great purity and holiness, said to be thousands in number. The horse-faced Kinnaras and the Goyakas are a class of demigods who are attendants of Kabura and reside in the Himalayan caverns guarding his wealth. The great Lord stared into the face of Sati. Thus by their mutual association Kali and Shiva nurtured the tree of love, sprinkling it with waters of emotion. Chapter 23, Description of the Power of Devotion. Brahma said, after sporting about like this till Sati edi with Shiva, Sati became less attached. One day after delighting the Lord with her devotion and obeisance, Sati the daughter of Daksha, spoke thus to Shiva. Sati said, O great Lord, Lord of lords and ocean of mercy, O great Yogin, the uplifter of the distressed, take pity on me. You are a great Purusa, the Lord, beyond Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. You are both Saguna and Nirguna. You are a great Lord, a cosmic witness, and free from aberration. I am blessed since I became your beloved wife sporting with you. O Lord, you became my husband because of your love for your devotees. O Lord, after sporting with you for many years I have become fully satiated and now my mind is turned away from it. O Lord of gods, I wish to know the great pleasing principle whereby, O Shiva, all living beings surmount worldly miseries in a trice. O Lord, please explain that activity which enables people to obtain the supreme region and free themselves from worldly bondage. Brahma said, O sage, the primordial goddess asked Shiva thus only for the sake of uplifting worldly creatures. On hearing that, Lord Shiva, whose mind is engrossed in the practice of yoga and who assumes physical bodies out of his own accord, spoke to Sati. Shiva said, O goddess Sati, listen, I shall explain the great principle whereby the remorseful creature becomes a liberated soul. O great goddess, know that the perfect knowledge is the great principle, the consciousness that I am Brahman in the perfect intellect where nothing else is remembered. This consciousness is very rare in the three worlds. O beloved, I am Brahman, the greatest of the great, and very few are those who know my real nature. Devotion to me is considered as the bestower of worldly pleasures and salvation. It is achievable only by my grace. It is ninefold. There is no difference between devotion and perfect knowledge. A person who is engrossed in devotion enjoys perpetual happiness. Perfect knowledge never descends in a vicious person averse to devotion. Attracted by devotion and as a result of its influence, O Goddess, I go even to the houses of the baseborn and outcasts. There is no doubt about it. Devotion is variously classified as attributive and attributeless, as conventional and natural, greater and lesser, perpetual and non-perpetual. There are 6 further subdivisions of the perpetual devotion. Scholars further classify it into enjoined and non-enjoined. Thus devotions are manifold, which have been explained elsewhere. O beloved, sages have explained that the different kinds of devotion have 9 ancillary adjuncts. O daughter of Daksha, I shall narrate them, to which you listen with love. According to scholars, O Goddess, the 9 ancillary adjuncts are listening, eulogizing, remembering, serving, surrendering, worshipping, saluting, friendliness and dedication. O Shiva, its further subdivisions too have been explained. O Goddess, listen to the characteristics of these 9 adjuncts separately. By listening is meant the imbibing of my stories that bestow worldly pleasures and salvation, with great devotion, in steady posture. After conceiving in the mind the details of my manifestations and activities, loudly and cheerfully, proclaiming the same in order to eulogize me is what is called eulogizing. O Goddess, after realizing me to be all-pervading, a feeling of fearlessness is what is called remembering. The service rendered to the Godhead commencing at the early dawn, with mind, speech, hands, and feet is what is called serving. Surrendering oneself in the service of the Godhead who is worthy of being served, and serving with all the sense organs, feeling hearty sense of elation is what is called surrendering. Offering 16 types of service to me, the Supreme Soul, in accordance with one's capacity is called worshipping. The 16 types of service are puja, etc. Meditating in the mind, repeating the mantras and touching the ground with 8 limbs is called saluting. The belief whatever God bestows on me, good or bad, is for my welfare is the characteristic sign of friendliness. Dedicating everything, the body and other possessions, for the propitiation of the Godhead and retaining nothing for oneself is called dedication. These 9 adjuncts to the devotion to me, cause perfect knowledge, bestow worldly pleasures and salvation, and are pleasing to me. The further subdivisions in the adjuncts are numerous. Nurturing the bilva tree etc. can be included therein. They shall be thought of by the devotee himself. O beloved, thus my devotion with various adjuncts and ancillaries, is contributory to salvation, since it is productive of perfect knowledge and detachment. It is the most excellent path. A true devotion is as endearing to me as to you. It is productive of the fruits of all rights forever. He who has it in his mind is a great favorite of mine. There is no other path as easy and pleasing as devotion in the 3 worlds, O Goddess of Devas, in all the 4 yugas generally and in the Kali Yuga particularly. Knowledge, Jnana, and detachment, Vairagya, have grown old and have lost their luster in the Kali age. They have become decayed and worn out, as the people who can grasp them are rare. In the Kali age, as in all the 4 yugas, there is immediate and visible benefit in devotion. I am subservient to a devotee in view of the power of devotion. I always assist a man endowed with devotion and remove his obstacles. A person devoid of devotion is worthy of being punished. There is no doubt about it. I am the protector of my devotees. For the protection of a devotee of mine I burnt the god of death, O goddess, in the fire emerging from my eyes. For the sake of a devotee of mine I became very furious with the sun formerly. I overpowered him with my trident. I was not a party to the evil actions of Ravana, though he was my devotee. For the sake of another devotee I discarded Ravana with all his followers. O goddess, for the sake of a devotee, I angrily expelled Ivyasa when he had a vicious thought, from Kasi after punishing him duly through Nandan. Why shall I say more, O goddess? I am always subservient to a devotee, always under the control of a person who practices devotion. There is no doubt in this. Brahma said. On hearing this greatness of devotion, Sati the daughter of Daksha, was delighted much and bowed to Shiva with pleasure. O sage, again she asked with great devotion more about the subject as explained in the sastras, which is pleasing and conducive to the uplift of all creatures. She inquired about topics on virtue and righteous living, uplighting the creatures and the sacred lore on yantras and mantras together with their greatness. On hearing the inquiry of Sati, Shiva was delighted. And he narrated them with pleasure in their entirety for raising the worldly creatures. The sacred lore bearing on the subject, the glory and greatness of the illustrious Lord, Shiva explained himself with yantras, with their 5 adjuncts. He told her legendary stories, the greatness of the votaries, the norms of peoples of different castes and stages in life, and the duties of kings, O great sage. The duties of sons, wives etc., and their greatness, the imperishable system of varnas and ashramas, O, the medical lore, and the astral lore, all beneficent to worldly creatures, were explained by him. Out of compassion for her, the great Lord explained the science of palmistry and similar other lores to her. Thus Sati and Shiva, who are intrinsically the supreme Brahman, who are the bestowers of happiness on the 3 worlds, who are omniscient, who are bent upon rendering help to the people, who appear as the personification of good qualities sported about in Kailasa, in the Himalayas and other places. Chapter 24, Sati's Test of Rama's Divinity. Narad said, O Brahma, Lord of subjects, of great mercy and lofty intellect, you have narrated the benevolent glory of Sati and Shiva. Now, please tell me more of their glory. What did the couple Shiv and Shiva do further, stationed on that mountain? Brahma said, O sage, listen to the story of Sati and Shiva. Having resorted to worldly conventions, they continued their sports every day. Thereafter, according to a tradition, it is said that the great goddess Sati was separated from her husband Shiva. Shakti and Isa are united forever like a word and its meaning. O sage, how can a real separation of the two occur? Or inasmuch as Sati and Shiva have sportive interest, whatever they do is proper. For, they follow the conventions of the world. She was forsaken by her husband at the time of her father's sacrifice. In view of the disrespect shown to Shiva, she cast off her body there. She was born again as Parvati, daughter of the Himalayas. She performed penance for several years and attained Shiva as her husband. Sutta said. After hearing these words of Brahma, Narad asked the Creator about the glory of Shiv and Shiva. Narad said, O Brahma, disciple of Vishnu, of great fortune, please explain in detail the story of Shiv and Shiva who followed the conventions of the world. O dear, why did Shiva abandon his wife who was to him dearer than his life? It looks rather strange. Hence please explain. Wherefore did your son Daksha disrespect Shiva at the time of sacrifice? How did she abandon her body at the sacrifice of her father? What happened after that? What did Shiva do? Please explain everything to me. I am eager to listen to it. Brahma said, O dear Narad, of great intellect, the most excellent of my sons, listen with pleasure, along with the sages, to the story of the moon-crested Lord. After bowing to Lord Shiva, who is the supreme Brahman and who is served by Vishnu and others, I begin to explain and narrate his story of wonderful significance. Everything is a sport of Shiva. The Lord indulges in many divine sports. He is independent and undecaying. Sati too is like that. Otherwise, O sage, who can perform such wonderful deeds? Lord Shiva alone is the Supreme Soul and the Supreme Brahman whom we all worship, Vishnu, all the devas, sages, the noble-souled siddhas like Sanaka and others. O dear one, Shiva is that Lord whose glory is sung forever by Sesa with great pleasure but is never exhausted. The erroneous perception of this visible world is due to his own sports. There none can be blamed. The all-pervasive Lord is the inducer. Once Shiva, accompanied by Sati and seated on his bull, wandered over the earth, in one of his sportive activities. Wandering over the ocean-girt earth, he reached Dandaka forest, where the Lord of truthful stake and transaction pointed to Sati the beauty of the surrounding nature. There Shiva saw Rama, who was searching for Sita, who was deceitfully abducted by Ravana. Lakshman too was there. Due to the pangs of separation, Rama was crying out, Alas Sita! He was pitiably lamenting and glancing here and there. Rama was yearning for her redemption. He was musing over her whereabouts. Due to adverse position of planets like Mars etc., he had become forlorn and shamelessly grief-stricken. He was a heroic king of the solar race, son of Dusaruth, elder brother of Bharata. He had become cheerless and devoid of luster. The great liberal-minded Lord Shiva, who is Purnakama, one whose ambitions are fully realized, delightfully bowed to Rama, who was wandering in the forest in the company of Lakshman and was in need of a favor. Be victorious, said Shiva, who is favorably disposed to his devotees. While he was going elsewhere in the forest, he revealed himself to Rama. Sati was surprised at this charmingly strange sport of Shiva. She was deluded by Shiva's Maya and spoke to him. Sati said, O Lord, the Lord of all, the Supreme Brahman, all the devas, Vishnu, Brahma, and others serve thee always. Thou art worthy of being served and bhakti, thou art worthy of being meditated upon always. Thou art known and realized only through the science of metaphysics, after strenuous efforts. Thou art the great Lord, the undecaying. O Lord, who are these two persons apparently grief-stricken from pangs of separation? Though heroic archers, they are greatly distressed. They seem to be roaming about in the forest. How is it that thou becomest highly delighted and behavest like a devotee on seeing the elder of the two, who resembles a blue lotus, in complexion? O Lord Shiva, may this doubt of mine be kindly heard. O Lord, the kneeling down of the master at the feet of a servant is not quite befitting. Brahma said. The great goddess Sati, the primordial Shakti, put this question to Shiva on being deluded by Shiva's illusion. On hearing these words of Sati, Lord Shiva laughed and said to Sati he was shrewd in his divine sports. Lord Shiva said, O goddess Sati, listen with pleasure. I shall truly explain it. There is no deception. I bow thus with respect due to the power of the boon, granted by me. O goddess, they are two brothers Rama and Lakshman. They are heroic, intelligent sons of Dusaruth, born of the solar dynasty. The fair-complexioned one is the younger brother Lakshman. He is the partial incarnation of Sesa. The elder one is the complete incarnation of Vishnu. He is called Rama. He is incapable of being harassed. The Lord has incarnated on the earth for our welfare and the protection of the good. Saying thus Shiva, the Lord, who causes prosperity to his votaries stopped. Even after hearing these words of Shiva, her mind was not convinced. Powerful indeed is Shiva's Maya, capable of deluding even the three worlds. On realizing that her mind was not convinced, Shiva, the eternal Lord, who is shrewd in the divine sports which he indulges in, spoke these words. Shiva said, O goddess, if your mind is not convinced, listen to my words. You can test the divinity of Rama yourself, using your own intelligence. O beloved Sat, he is standing there beneath the Vata tree. You can test him and proceed until your delusion is quelled. Brahma said. Going there at Shiva's bidding, Sati the goddess thought, how shall I test Rama the forest roamer? I shall assume the form of Sita and shall go to him. If Rama is Vishnu, he will know it and otherwise not. Deciding like this, she who was deluded by Shiva became Sita and went there to test him. On seeing Sati in the guise of Sita, Rama the scion of Raghu's race repeated the name Shiva, realized the truth and laughed. He bowed to her and said. Rama said, O Sati, obeisance to you. Where has Shiva gone? Please tell me affably. How is it that you have come here alone without your husband? O goddess Sati, why have you cast off your own form and assumed this guise? Take pity on me and tell me the reason thereof. Brahma said. On hearing these words of Rama, Sati was stunned. Remembering Shiva's words and realizing the truth of the same, she felt ashamed. Realizing Rama to be Vishnu, she reassumed her own original form. Remembering Shiva's feet in her heart, Sati spoke delightedly. Wandering over the earth along with me in the company of his attendants, the great Lord Shiva came here in the forest. Here he saw you searching for Sita in the company of Lakshman. You were highly distressed on account of separation from Sita. At the root of the Vata he came and bowed to you, glorifying your greatness with pleasure. He was not so happy on seeing the four-armed Vishnu as on seeing this simple pure form of yours. O Rama, on hearing those words of Shiva, my mind became suspicious, and at his bidding I desired to test your divinity. O Rama, I have realized your Vishnuism. I have seen your overall lordship. I am now free from doubts. But, still, O intelligent one, please listen to this. How is it that you became worthy of being saluted by him? Please tell me the truth. Make me free from doubt. Thus you shall be happy. Brahma said. On hearing her words, Rama became happy, his eyes shining with brilliance. He thought upon his Lord Shiva. Emotions of love swelled in his heart. O sage, without the specific permission of Sati he did not go near Shiva. Describing his greatness, Rama spoke to Sati again. Chapter 25, Separation of Sati and Shiva. Rama said, O goddess, formerly once, Shiva, the Creator Supreme, called Visvakarman to his Jagast region. He made him erect a large hall of great beauty in his cowshed, and an exquisite throne there. Shiva caused Visvakarman to make an excellent, divine, wonderful umbrella for warding off obstacles. He invited Indra and other gods, the Siddhas, Gandharvas, Nagas, Upadas and Agamas, Brahma with his sons, the sages, and the celestial goddesses and nymphs who came there with various articles. 16 virgins each of devas, sages, siddhas and serpents were brought for the auspicious ceremony. O sages, different musical instruments like lutes, taboors etc. were played and songs sung. Thus there was great pomp and ceremony. Articles necessary for a coronation including herbs were brought. 5 pots were filled with the sacred waters from all flowing holy rivers. All other divine arrangements were made by his attendants. Shiva caused them to recite Vedic mantras loudly. With a delightful mind he called Vishnu from Vaikuntha. O goddess, Shiva rejoiced at the perfect devotion of Vishnu. In an auspicious hour, the great Lord made Vishnu sit on the exquisite throne and delightedly decorated him in every way. A beautiful coronet was fixed on Vishnu and the auspicious holy thread was tied to his waist. He was then coronated by Lord Shiva in the cosmic hall. What was his own and even non-transferable, Shiva the independent and favorably disposed to his devotees, conferred on Vishnu and eulogized him. The Lord who is favorably disposed to his devotees, revealing himself independent but subservient to the boons granted by him, spoke these words to Brahma the creator of all worlds. Lord Shiva said, Lord, may you all hear. From now onwards, at my bidding, this Vishnu has become worthy of my respect and that of all devas. Dear one, you too bow to him. May all the Vedas extol him at my bidding as they extol me. Rama said. So saying, Rudra, himself bowed to Garuda-bannered Vishnu. The bestower of boons, he who is favorably disposed to his devotees, felt delighted by his devotion to Vishnu. Then Vishnu was duly revered by Brahma followed by devas, sages, siddhas, and others. Then the delighted Lord Shiva, favorably disposed towards his devotees, bestowed great boons on Vishnu and the other devas. Lord Shiva said at my bidding you are now the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of all the worlds. You are the bestower of virtue, wealth, and love and the chastiser of people of evil predilection. You are the Lord of the universe. You are worthy of the worship of the universe. You will be invincible in battle anywhere even against me. You will be endowed with great strength and valor. You take 3 Shaktis will etc. conferred by me. You can have the power of exhibiting diverse sports and independence in the 3 worlds. O Vishnu, persons who hate you shall indeed be chastised and curbed by me with strenuous efforts. Salvation shall be given by me, O Vishnu, to your devotees. Accept this Maya too which cannot be withstood by devas and others and by which the entire universe will he diluted and made insentient as it were. O Vishnu, you are my left hand, as Brahma is my right hand. You shall be his progenitor and sustainer too. Undoubtedly I myself am Rudra who is my heart. He is worthy of your respect as well as that of Brahma and others too, of course. While stationed here you protect the entire universe taking different incarnations and diverse ways of protection. This place of great prosperity and glory in my own world shall be famous as Goloka. It will be very brilliant. O Vishnu, I shall certainly see the various incarnations of yours on the earth and shall be delighted by your devotion to me. Rama said after conferring thus unlimited prosperity on Vishnu. Shiva, the consort of Shiva, freely sported about at Kailasa along with his attendants. Thenceforth Lord of Lakshmi assumed the guise of a cowherd. The Lord of cowherds, cowherdesses, and the cows wandered there with pleasure. The delightful Vishnu protected the universe, taking up various incarnations and sustaining it at the bidding of Shiva. Now he has taken a fourfold incarnation at the bidding of Shiva. I who am Rama, and my brothers Bharata, Lakshman, and Shatrugna are his incarnations. O goddess Sati, at the bidding of my father I have come to the forest. Unfortunately I have fallen in deep distress. My wife Sita has been abducted by a demon. I am now seeking my beloved, separated from her and devoid of my kinsman. O Mother Sati, since I have the good fortune of seeing you, there is no doubt that everything will be well with me by your favor. By your blessings I shall have the fortune of acquiring Sita after killing the demon of evil intention who is the cause of trouble. It is my good fortune that both of you have taken pity on me. That man who is the object of your mercy is the best of blessed people. After speaking thus and bowing in diverse ways to Sati, Rama, the scion of the family of Raghu, roamed in the forest with her permission. On hearing these words of Rama of pious rites, Sati was delighted. She praised him in her heart for his devotion to Shiva. Remembering her own action, she was much distressed. She returned to Shiva, pale in face and gloomy in spirit. While returning, the goddess frequently mused, I did not accept Shiva's explanation. I entertained a senseless thought against Rama. After going to Shiva, what reply shall I give? Thinking thus, she began to repent in many ways. Approaching Shiva, she mentally bowed to him, with a pallid face and stricken with grief. On seeing her distressed, Shiva inquired of her health and asked, "Oh, have you finished your test?" On hearing Shiva's words, she bent her head as a mark of respect but did not say anything. Agitated with grief, she stood aghast. On meditating for a while, Shiva, the great yogin, adept in diverse divine sports, could understand everything about Sati, the daughter of Daksha. He remembered the promise that he himself had made on being requested by Vishnu when he was angry with the latter. Shiva, who keeps the bounds of righteousness intact, was distressed. The Lord, the propounder, the activator, and the protector of righteousness, thought within himself, if I were to maintain my love towards Sati at the level as before, my promise will be broken even if I follow the conventions of the world. Brahma said. Thus pondering within himself in diverse ways, he mentally discarded Sati but did not break his promise as the protector of Vedic virtue. Then, after forsaking Sati mentally, the Lord returned to his abode. He did not at all reveal the promise. While they were on their way, an unembodied speech rose in the sky telling him within the hearing of everyone, particularly of Sati, Daksha's daughter. The celestial voice said, O great Lord, you are blessed indeed. There is no other great yogin or great Lord in the three worlds, on a par with you. No one else can maintain that promise. Brahma said. On hearing the celestial voice, the goddess, utterly lusterless, asked Shiva, O Lord, please tell me, what is the promise that you made? Even when asked, the Lord, who was benevolent to Sati, did not reveal the vow which he took in the presence of Vishnu formerly. Then, O sage, meditating on Shiva, her own beloved husband, Sati understood the matter, which meant the abandonment of her own self. After realizing the abandonment of herself by him, the daughter of Daksha was grieved much and began to heave sighs frequently. But the Lord Shiva kept the fate of his vow a secret from her and narrated many a tale to her. Thus, narrating tales to her on the way, he reached Kailasa along with her. There Shiva, the yogin, entered a trance and meditated upon his real form. Sati stayed in the abode, overwhelmed by grief. But O sage, no one could guess the conduct of Shiva and Shiva. O sage, great time elapsed even as the Lord and the goddess followed the conventions of the world through the physical bodies taken up by themselves. Then Shiva, the great enjoyer and protector, stopped his meditation. On coming to know of it, Sati, the mother of the universe, came there. The goddess bowed to him with a moaning heart. The benevolent Shiva offered her a seat in front of himself. He narrated several interesting tales to her. By these divine sports he tried to entertain her and make her mind free from grief. She regained her previous happiness. He too did not forsake his vow. Oh dear, this need not be considered wonderful in the benign great Lord Shiva. But O sage, some ignorant pandits thus narrate the story of Shiv and Shiva and their separation. But how can there be a real separation between the two? Who knows the true life and conduct of Shiva and Shiva? They sport about of their own accord and make their own lives forever. Sati and Shiva are united together like words and their meanings only if they wish. Can their separation be even imagined?